press release came out from the Department of Homeland Security a couple days ago. It said that members of Congress in New Jersey that went to the Delaney Hall ICE detention facility could, quote, could have just scheduled a tour. I guess I'd just like to hear from you if you can confirm that you understand that members of Congress by law are allowed to show up unannounced to conduct oversight visits of ICE detention facilities.
Hello, Americans. This is Republican Forum, where truth still matters and America always comes first. So Senator Kim just grilled the Secretary of Homeland Security in a hearing that exposed just how broken and arrogant our federal agencies have become. Let me break it down for you. Congress has a legal right to conduct unannounced oversight visits at ICE detention facilities. That's not just a suggestion. That's a constitutional check on executive power. It's Oversight 101, but apparently that's too disruptive for DHS. Folks, they literally accuse Congress of inappropriate behavior during a tour of these. Our elected representatives, not Antifa activists. The secretary had the nerve to say these visits can't evolve into law enforcement confrontations. You know what that means. They want a sanitized, PR-friendly photo op, not real accountability. That's how authoritarianism creeps in unelected officials making up the rules to keep themselves from scrutiny. That is not how this republic works. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
They can conduct oversight, but Senator, what I would ask is that they understand that that doesn't mean they could show up with a mob with the intention to break in and assault law enforcement officers. That's what happened at Delaney Hall last week.
You're familiar
is that those individuals and those members of Congress were surrounded by criminals, creating criminal and perpetuating criminal acts.
You understand that
but when
they were
you show up
already
and ask for a tour,
the
we've
facility.
facilitated every single tour that every member of Congress has wanted. We've always done that, and we have to, when we have a tour, also make sure that we've addressed security concerns and have enough staff and all of that, and we were accommodating that when those individuals showed up and they decided instead to break in. You
know that they were already on the ICE premise, already facilitating into having the tour when there was the arrest of the mayor. They were not breaking into
They had broken through the outer fence, and they were interior on federal property when the crimes occurred.
They were invited in by ICE as the ICE was preparing to give them a tour.
That doesn't give them an excuse to start punching law enforcement officers.
But you understand that they were not storming the fence.
Well, I don't understand. Are you making excuses for their behavior that day?
I'm just trying to clarify what exactly
Oversight
happened.
is an important part of what Congress does and what you provide to our department, and we welcome it. We give tours when members of Congress ask for it. We just ask that they not be politicized, that they actually are there to provide the oversight that is needed to ensure that we're doing due diligence in our job.
And if I were to show up at ICE detention facility unannounced, I would be let in.
Yes, I would ask that you would be allowing us to secure the officers that we need to give you an appropriate tour, that we'd be able to cover the other bases and posts that they would have to leave to come and facilitate that. We may have to call other people in to help cover some of that because of the extra responsibilities, but we can do that.
I've done this before. I just wanted to make sure I heard that from you. I wanted to just go back to something that was raised earlier about habeas corpus. Can you confirm to us that you understand that any suspension of habeas corpus requires an act of Congress?
President Lincoln executed habeas corpus in the past with retroactive action by Congress. I believe that any president that was able to do that in the past, it should be afforded to our current day president. This president has never said he's going to do this. He's never communicated to me or his administration that they're going to consider suspending habeas corpus, but I do think the Constitution allows them the right to consider it.
When we saw what happened with, how many times has habeas corpus been suspended in our country?
Once that I know of.
4 times.
For certain. I'm not certain if those were...
The instance that you were referring to was one where the courts subsequently showed that Congress is the one that has the ability. Do you know what section of the Constitution the suspension clause of habeas corpus is in?
I do not. Nope.
Do you know which article it is in?
No, I do not, sir.
Okay, well, it is in Article 1. Do you know which branch of government Article 1 outlines the tasks and the responsibilities for?
Yes.
Which one?
Congress.
Yes. Stephen Miller has said that he is actively considering, that there is active consideration of habeas corpus. Have you had a conversation with Stephen Miller about suspending habeas corpus?
I have not.
When it comes to FEMA, this is something I'm concerned about. Being from New Jersey, we've had challenges with Superstorm Sandy and others in the past. I was alarmed when I saw some reports that the acting head, Richardson, said last Thursday that he's about 80 to 85% done with the hurricane season plan, given that we are just days away from hurricane season beginning. I just wanted to ask you, is he done with his hurricane preparedness plan?
He is working diligently with the employees at FEMA and are prepared for hurricane season. What you referenced.
Have you seen this plan? Have you seen this plan? Is he?
Yes, I've been actively engaged in hurricane response and preparation. We're pre-staging people, pre-staging equipment.
Is that
We're making sure that we have tabletop exercise we're running through with all of our regions on what their response will be. It's been very extensive how we've laid out this plan.
And will you be able to share that plan with this committee?
I will check and make sure that I can, but I would think that we would be able to do that. I can't see any reason that would be.
Just one last thing. A couple weeks ago, you said that you were considering restarting in-person training at the National Fire Academy. I just wanted to ask if you're prepared to tell this committee that that you are moving forward with restarting in-person trainings.
Yes, the plan is to do that again. So
that has been approved to restart?
Yes, it has been.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I yield back.
Let's talk about the absolute bombshell dropped in this hearing the discussion on suspending habeas corpus. You heard that right. Suspending one of the most fundamental rights under the Constitution, the right to challenge unlawful detention. Now, the Secretary claims there are no current plans, but also says the President can suspend with Congress's retroactive approval. Excuse me, are we in the United States or Venezuela? This kind of dangerous talk is exactly why we have checks and balances. The executive branch does not get to throw away the Constitution just because it's inconvenient. This isn't the Civil War. And this isn't Lincoln. You don't get to cherry-pick history to justify expanding federal power at the expense of the American people. It's a disgrace. And more importantly, it's a warning sign. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, FEMA steps into the spotlight. Senator Kim raised a real concern. Hurricane season is days away, and FEMA's plans are only 80 to 85% ready. Are you kidding me? Let me ask you, if you had a job where being 15% unprepared could mean thousands of lives at risk, would you still have that job? We're talking about the same FEMA that dropped the ball during Katrina, the same FEMA that's still fumbling recovery efforts in places like Puerto Rico, and now we're supposed to trust the process. Nah, sorry, I don't trust any government agency that can't show me the full plan until after the storm hits. This is taxpayer money at work, folks. We deserve answers and results, not bureaucratic doublespeak and missed deadlines. Finally, there was one piece of halfway good news. In-person training at the National Fire Academy is coming back. Great, fantastic, about time. But let's not act like that's some huge victory. It should have never been shut down this long in the first place. Our firefighters are heroes. They should have had access to top-tier training throughout the last few years, not just when the government gets around to it. What we just saw wasn't just a hearing. It was a glimpse into the growing divide between the American people and the bureaucracy that claims to serve them. DHS wants control, FEMA wants excuses, and the executive branch thinks it can just maybe suspend constitutional rights if it feels like it. But I'll tell you what, we the people aren't buying it. We're watching, we're holding the line, and we're standing up for a country where government serves the people, not the other way around. So let me ask you, do you trust DHS to tell the truth? Do you believe FEMA's ready? And are you okay with even talking about suspending habeas corpus? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. And if you're as fired up as I am, share this video, tell your friends, and let's keep the pressure on. This is Republican Forum News. Stay free, stay strong, stay American.